Another day, another story. Welcome and please enjoy. The Vikings, also known as Norsemen, were a group of seafaring people from Scandinavia who lived from the 8th to the 11th century. They were skilled sailors, traders, and craftspeople, but they are often depicted as ruthless warriors who raided and pillaged their way through Europe. However, there is much more to Viking culture than just warfare. In this video, we'll explore the daily life of Vikings, their social structure, religion, and tactics in battle. The Vikings were a seafaring people from the late 8th to early 11th century who originated in modern-day Denmark, Norway, and Sweden. They were known for their fierce warriors, skilled shipbuilders, and long-distance trade and raiding expeditions throughout Europe, Asia, and North America. The Viking Age began with the raid on the Lindisfarne Monastery in England in 793 CE and ended with the Battle of Stamford Bridge in 1066 CE. During this period, the Vikings established settlements and trading posts throughout the known world, including Iceland, Greenland, and Vinland, modern-day Newfoundland, Canada. The Vikings were feared by their enemies for their ferocity in battle and their ability to launch surprise raids from their longships. They were also skilled warriors, using weapons such as axes, swords, and spears, and wearing armor made of leather, iron, or chainmail. Despite their reputation as raiders, the Vikings were also accomplished traders and diplomats. They established trade routes throughout Europe and Asia, and their ships were used to transport goods such as furs, spices, and slaves. The Vikings also made significant contributions to culture and technology. They were skilled craftsmen, producing intricate metalwork, jewelry, and textiles. They also developed a system of writing called runes, which they used to record important events and stories. In addition, the Vikings were a seafaring people who built sophisticated ships that allowed them to navigate rough waters and travel long distances. Their ships were equipped with both sails and oars and were designed to be fast and maneuverable, which gave them an advantage in battle and trade. Daily life. Viking life was largely centered around agriculture and farming. Most Vikings lived in small villages or settlements, where they grew crops such as barley, oats, and rye. They also kept livestock, such as cattle, pigs, and sheep, for milk, meat, and wool. Fishing and hunting were also important sources of food, especially in coastal areas. Viking society was organized into social classes. At the top were the jarls, or noble leaders, who held power and wealth. Below them were the carls, or freemen, who were farmers, craftsmen, and traders. The lowest class was the thralls, or slaves, who were usually captured in battle or born into slavery. Viking houses were typically made of wood, with thatched roofs and walls of wattle and daub. They were often clustered together in a tight-knit community, with a central meeting hall or longhouse where the villagers gathered for feasts and celebrations. The Vikings were skilled craftsmen, and they produced a wide range of goods, including textiles, tools, and jewelry. They were also known for their shipbuilding, and their longships were the fastest and most maneuverable vessels of their time. This made them excellent traders and raiders, and the Vikings traveled extensively throughout Europe, Asia, and North America. In their daily lives, the Vikings were a religious people, and their beliefs and rituals were an important part of their culture. They worshipped a pantheon of gods and goddesses, such as Odin, Thor, Freya, and Loki, and they made offerings and sacrifices to ensure their favor. Viking social life was centered around the family, and marriages were arranged for political and economic reasons. Women had a relatively high status in Viking society, and they could own property, inherit land, and even divorce their husbands. Children were also valued, and they were expected to contribute to the household from a young age. Religion. The Vikings worshipped a pantheon of gods and goddesses, such as Odin, Thor, Freya, and Loki. They believed that the gods controlled everything from the weather to their daily lives, and they made offerings and sacrifices to them to ensure their favor. Odin was the king of the gods and the god of wisdom, poetry, and war. He had only one eye, having sacrificed the other for knowledge. Thor was the god of thunder, strength, and protection. He wielded a mighty hammer called Mjolnir, and his chariot was pulled by 2 goats. Freya was the goddess of love, fertility, and war. She had a chariot pulled by cats and was said to be very beautiful. Loki was a trickster god who often caused trouble for the other gods. He was known for his shape-shifting abilities and was both loved and feared by the Vikings. Other gods and goddesses included Tyr, the god of law and justice, Hel, the goddess of the underworld, and Heimdall, the god of light and guardian of the Bifrost, the rainbow bridge that connected Asgard, the home of the gods, to Midgard, the world of humans. The Vikings also believed in an afterlife, and that those who died in battle would go to Valhalla, a glorious hall where they would fight and feast for eternity. Vikings also believed in magic, and many of their stories featured powerful witches or sorcerers. Warfare. Viking warfare was an important part of their society, and their reputation as fierce warriors is well known. The Vikings were not a unified people, but rather a collection of tribes and clans who often fought among themselves for power and resources. Viking raids were typically swift and brutal, with the goal of capturing wealth and slaves. The Vikings would sail up rivers and attack settlements and monasteries, where they would plunder valuables and take captives. They were known for their use of surprise and their ability to strike quickly and retreat before a defense could be mounted. In battle, the Vikings were fierce and disciplined fighters. They used a variety of weapons, including axes, swords, and spears, and were skilled in both hand-to-hand combat and long-range attacks. They wore armor made of leather, iron, or chainmail, and their shields were often decorated with symbols or designs. Viking warfare was not just about brute strength and tactics, but also about honor and glory. Warriors who died in battle were believed to go to Valhalla, a hall of the gods where they would fight and feast for eternity. This belief inspired the Vikings to fight with great courage and determination, even in the face of overwhelming odds. In addition to raids, the Vikings also fought in larger battles and wars. These conflicts were often fought between rival clans or over territory and resources. The most famous of these battles was the Battle of Stamford Bridge in 1066, where the Vikings, led by King Harald Hardrada, were defeated by the English army. Viking warfare also played a role in shaping the political and social structure of their society. Successful warriors could earn wealth and prestige, and many became powerful leaders and jarls. The Vikings also established alliances and trade relationships with other cultures, and their military prowess allowed them to negotiate from a position of strength. However, social mobility was possible through wealth and success in warfare. Temples were important gathering places for the community, and sacrifices were often made to the gods to ensure their favor and protection. Entertainment and leisure were also important parts of Viking life. Storytelling and poetry were popular forms of entertainment, and board games played. Sports such as wrestling and horse racing were also popular, and feasts and celebrations were held to mark important occasions. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe.